Welcome to section 1.2a. A negative number is a number less than 0. The negative numbers are to the left of 0 on the number line. The opposite of a number is the number that is the same distance from 0 on the number line, but on the opposite side of 0. So when we talk about this opposite notation, negative a means that opposite of the number a. So negative 3 could be read as the opposite of 3. Well, what we discussed in class is that we called it a negative 3. And if you recall, I mentioned that it's, by definition, negative 1 times 3. The negative 1 is taking the opposite of the number. Now, the absolute value of a number is the positive distance. So if you want to put the word positive here right before or right above the word distance, just to overemphasize, the author assumes that you know that distances are always positive. All right, so the positive distance from 0 on the number line, absolute values are always greater than or equal to 0. The absolute value of a number n is written as the two pair of vertical bars, a pair of vertical bars with n in the middle. The absolute value of n is greater than or equal to 0 for all numbers. So down below here, as an example, negative 5 is 5 units away from 0. So we count to the right, we're counting that distance, we measure it, it's 5 units long. Now, if we look at 5 on the number line, even though it's to the right of 0, we still measure that distance, the absolute value of 5. You measure from 0 out to 5. It's 5 units long. They're always positive. This is a distance. All right, so using this vocabulary with our problems. So we're going to look at integers. Now, integers are the set of whole numbers and their opposites. So whole numbers, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then you put a negative on them. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. You'll notice that there's no such thing as negative 0. 0 is neither positive or negative. It is neutral. We have what is known as the subtraction property. A minus b is equal to a plus the opposite of b. So we can always change that up to help us out. And we'll look at that when we get down to number 7. I'm going to show you a couple tricks of the trades to make your work go by really fast. All right, number 1, find the opposite of 10. Well, if it's a positive 10, we want to go to the opposite side of the number line by the negatives, negative 10. The opposite of negative 12, positive 12. Evaluate a negative negative or an opposite opposite. Well, that's a positive. It's like saying negative 1 times a negative 27, positive 27. Evaluate the absolute value of d. When d is a negative 25, you put the negative 25 inside the absolute value bars. What is the positive distance from 0 to negative 25? It is 25. Always positive. If there's a positive in front of the absolute value bars, your answer is always positive. Evaluate the absolute value of a negative d. Okay, still positive in the front. My answer has to be positive. So we put negative 71 in for d. Now notice that this negative on the 71 has nothing to do with the negative on the d. So there's two negatives. So just like we had over here, that changes to a positive 71. We want to know the positive distance from 0 to 71 is a positive 71. Whoops, look at number 6 here. It's a negative absolute value. No matter what happens, my answer is going to be negative. This is on the outside. It's the last thing I'm going to do. So negative 15 goes in just for the t. So we technically have 3 negatives here. So we work on the inside of the absolute value bars first. So an opposite opposite or negative negative turns that into a positive 15. All right, we want the positive distance from 0 to 15 is 15. Then put the negative on it. Answer is negative 15. All right, so we're going to add or subtract now sign numbers. So these are problems that you're going to see. So this rule works for any two numbers, and then we're going to expand on it with examples. But here's my rule. Number 1, always simplify double signs and keep the sign of the largest number. Now, what do we mean by double signs? Well, double signs are like example number 3, negative, negative. Those are double signs. So looking at part A, no double signs. Part B, we have some double signs to simplify. So we'll take care of that when we get there. Step 2, here's the rule. If the signs are the same, you sum up the numbers. You ignore the signs because you've already put the sign in your answer. If my signs are different, then you subtract the numbers, big minus small. So if you want to put a big minus small here, that's the way we always subtract. So looking at A, I have a positive 5 plus 9. There's no double signs. Okay, the sign of the largest number. 9's bigger, it's positive. My answer is positive. The signs are the same. They're both positive numbers. Add together, 5 plus 9, 14. All right, here we go. B, double signs. Opposite signs is always an opposite. So these two signs become an opposite. Now, 10 is bigger than 8. Take the sign in front of the 10. Your answer has to be negative. My two signs on the 8 and the 10 are both the same symbol. Negative, negative, or minus, minus. Okay, they're both the same. Same sign, add the 8 and the 10 together, 18. There's your final answer, negative 18. Just like that, bada bing, bada boom, we're done. Part C. All right, you have 12 plus a negative 15. Simplify the double signs. Positive and a negative, make a minus sign. 15's bigger, keep the negative. Put it in my answer. This is a positive 12. This is technically a negative 15. The signs are opposite. Subtract big number 15 minus 12, 3. So you don't have to worry about the order in which you subtract when you've already predetermined the sign of the answer. How convenient. All right, D, negative 12 plus 18. No double signs. 18's bigger, so put a positive in for the answer. The two signs are different. Okay, take its difference. Subtract big 18 minus 12, 6. Positive 6 is my answer. All right, number 8. Now we're going to kind of expand our tricks here. Looking back, it's always easier to add. So whenever you get a bunch of sign numbers, add up all the positives first, add up all the negatives second, and then you have a subtraction problem at the end. So, case in point, here I have 6 plus negative 8 plus negative 9. Simplify my double signs. Negative, negative. All right, so these two negative numbers, negative 8 and negative 9, we should add those together. Okay, they're both negative, so the answer has to be negative. 8 plus 9 is 17. So I have plus a negative 17, and I bring down the positive number 6. All right, looking at my two signs, positive and negative is a negative. 17 is negative. It's bigger. My answer is negative. Positive 6, negative 17, subtract 17 minus 6, negative 11 is my answer. And if you don't believe me, go type this all into the calculator, and it will check out. You type it in just as you see it, and the calculator will fix it. All right, here we have 14 plus a negative 15, but it's in brackets, so rule states we got to do this first. All right, 15's bigger, its sign is negative. If you simplify the double signs, it's a minus. So answer is negative. 15 minus 14, negative 1. 11 plus a negative 13, this is a minus. 13 is negative. Keep the negative sign. Signs are different. Subtract 13 minus 11, it's a minus 2. All right, they're both negative numbers. We're going to add them together, so my answer will be negative. 1 plus 2, negative 3. Number 10, 2 minus 5. 5 is bigger. It's a negative. My answer is negative. Positive 2, negative 5. Okay, subtract 5 minus 2, negative 3. Part B. Oop, minus a negative. Simplify those. That's going to make it a plus. That's 2 plus 5. Okay, that's 7. Negative 2 minus 5. 5 is bigger. Keep the sign. It's negative. The signs are the same. Add the 2 and the 5. The answer is negative 7. Negative 2 minus a negative 5. Simplify the double signs. Negative 2 plus 5. 5 is bigger. Keep the sign. It's a positive. Signs are different. Subtract. 5 minus 2, 3. The answer is a positive 3. All right. Now all we're going to do is just deal with bigger numbers. 69 is bigger than 24. My answer is negative. 69 minus 24. How about a 45? There's my final answer. Simplify the double signs. Negative 26 plus 45. Okay, 45 again is bigger. Keep the positive. Signs are different. Subtract 45 minus 26. All right, so how are we going to do 45 minus 26? Well, think of this as 46 minus 26. That would be 20. Since I added 1 to it, now subtract 1 from the 20. It's going to be 19. 84 minus negative. 2 negatives. Oh, that's a positive. All right, we'll add these two together. It's going to be a positive 179. 112 is bigger. Answer is negative. Signs are the same. We're going to add them together. 99 plus 112, or take 1 from the 12. Make it into 100 here. So 100 and 111, 211. So final answer, negative 211. 12. Okay, let's simplify. Okay, again, more than two numbers. I have a positive, a minus, and a minus. Take care of the negatives first. This will be a negative. Add the two numbers together, negative or minus 14. Bring down the 11. Now it's two numbers. Okay, so it's a 14 is bigger. The answer is negative. 14 minus 11, 3. Okay, here, 13, fix the double signs. That's going to be a plus 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, the 2 is positive, the 6 is positive, and the 23 are positive. I want to add those all together first. 2 plus 6 is 8. 8 plus 23 is going to be 31. Now bring down the minus 39. Okay, if it's a positive and a negative, keep the sign of the bigger number. Negative. Subtract, because the signs are opposite, they're different from each other, so take the difference. 39 minus 31, 8. There's my final answer. 14, fix the double signs. We got minus a negative. Okay, that's plus 17. So combine the two negative numbers. We're going to add those together. It's going to be a negative 9 plus 25, negative 34. Then we're going to take the 17 and the 29. These are the two positives. We're going to add them together. That's going to be plus 46. 46 is bigger. It's positive, so my answer is positive. My signs are different. Subtract. 46 minus 34 is 12. Final answer, positive 12. Okay, so if you want, pause the video, work these 4, and then when you got your answers, we'll come back and give you the answers. Okay, welcome back. All right, how did we do? We got 2 minus signs here, minus a negative. That becomes a plus 33. Combine the two positives. That's going to be a positive 68. Then with the negative 3, we're going to have a positive answer, 68 minus 3, positive 65. Fix the double signs, positive 22. All right, so bring down the other positive. 31 plus 22 is going to be 53. Now bring down the negative 37. 53 is bigger, so it's a positive. The signs are different. Subtract 53 minus 37, 16. Now 17 here, we have 5 minus 9 in the parentheses, so we have to figure this out first. So 9 is bigger than 5, so my answer is a negative. The signs are different. Subtract. There's a negative 4 in the parentheses. Fix your double signs, minus the negative, makes that 3 plus 4. Answer 7. All right, 18. Here you have 8 squared, so we have to simplify this exponent first. That's 64, but because you have these parentheses here, we could simplify this at the same time because they're separated by a minus sign. So this is the 64, and these two are both negatives, so add the 9 and a 1, we get a negative 10. Keep the sign of the bigger number. Now it's minus a negative, which changes this to a plus. So 64 plus 10, 74. Okay, these examples here, they want you to use sign numbers to write your expression. So here it says a diver starts out at 56 feet below the surface. That means that's a negative 256. She swims upward 115 feet. Up means we're going to add 115 to that. So use the sign numbers to represent the diver's current depth. So negative 256 plus 115, that 256 is bigger. The answer is negative. Signs are different. We subtract 256 minus 115. Well, looks like 141, so it's a negative 141. Oh, poor John here. John's bank account was overdrawn. Oh no. The status of his account was a negative $232. Okay, that's some serious overspending. He did not realize the problem and wrote another check for $85. The bank charged him a $22 fee for being overdrawn. What was the new status of John's account at this point? Well, you start with a negative 232. The check is taking money out of his account, so that's a negative. And the bank is going to charge him another fee, so that's a minus 22. So my answer is negative because they're all negatives, and we just add up all the numbers together. So let's see, 232 plus 85, that's going to be 317. 317 plus 22 is 339, so he has, oh, that poor guy, he's got a negative $339 in the bank. Okay, number 21. The coldest temperature ever recorded in Mathville was negative 32 degrees Fahrenheit. This happened on January 30th, 1973. The normal low for the day is 20 degrees Fahrenheit. How much colder was the record temperature than the normal low temperature? All right, now here's where people make a mistake, and they start out with negative 23, and they put the plus 20. They combine these together and say, oh, it's negative 3. Wait a minute, time out. How can a negative 23 degrees Fahrenheit, which is a positive 23 units away from 0, and then 20 is 20 units away from 0, how can that be only a difference of a negative 3? It is not 3 degrees colder. That's wrong. Wrong. Think of your thermostat, which is nothing more than a vertical number line. So here's my 20 degrees. Here's my negative 23 degrees. I want to find the distance between these two, the difference between these numbers, big minus small. It's 20 minus a negative 23, which becomes a positive 23. And that's 43 degrees. How much colder was the record temperature than the normal low temperature? It was 43 degrees colder, not 3 degrees colder. Okay, and that takes care of 1.2a.